Welcome. We are so glad you are learning more about the Fellowship and Unitarian Universalism. I am Marie Luna, the Director of Congregational Life, and I am joined by Kim Hartman, our Director of Religious Education, to talk about faith development. I will start by lighting the chalice, the symbol for Unitarian Universalism. These words come from Sophia Lyon-Fahs, a Unitarian Universalist religious education pioneer. She writes, "Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged. Other beliefs are expansive and lead the way into wider and deeper sympathies. Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, friends from enemies. Other beliefs are bonds in a world community where sincere differences beautify the pattern. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world. Other beliefs are pliable, like the young sapling, ever growing with the upward thrust of life."
Thank you, Marie. So I'm here to talk about, just to give an overview of our religious education program at the Fellowship, and then talk a little bit about our philosophy. So I'd like to start out with just sort of how religious education works at the Fellowship on a daily/weekly basis. So Sunday programs are exclusively religious education, in that we are trying to mirror sort of the themes of the service year, or of the program year. And Wednesday night programs are exclusively for our youth. So I want to talk about Sundays first. So on Sundays, what we are doing, because of COVID, all of our classes are online this year, and will continue to be online until we can ensure the safety of our young people and any of the adults in returning to the building. So there are no plans to return to the building now. Everything is going to be online. So our program on Sundays is a program for our, so it's one of two programs on Sundays. The program for our elementary age kids, and that includes the children from pre-K through 5th grade, is really centered on the sermon theme of each week and each month. And that is where we meet together virtually on Zoom, and we share age-appropriate materials with the kids that touch on the topics that the adults will be touching on in the Zoom service. This year, during the program year, we're going to be offering that once every 2 weeks. So 2 times a month, we'll be meeting together virtually. And on a Zoom, for those of you who are familiar or not familiar with Zoom, all of the children that are online can each see everyone else that's present. We always have 2 adults available or present for every one of our classes. And that is there to ensure the safety of our children, as well as our volunteer and paid adults. So those classes will last about 45 minutes, and then we will go into adult programs that the children can also attend, but those will be separate from the service. For kids who are in grades 6 through 12, we're offering a program, we have been offering a popular program called Building Bridges. And what Building Bridges is about is really helping our young people to understand the different faith communities that are in the Fox Valley area, and an attempt to, with understanding, comes kindness. And so our intent is to teach about, but help them understand where our different faith groups are coming from spiritually, what they're about, so they can, so our young people can be empowered to know and be and work with the people that they're living with. The course used to be called Neighboring Faiths, and it's just about that. It's about helping them understand different faith paths of different people in the area, who they're going to school with, who they're maybe, you know, if they continue to live in the area, who they're going to be working with, is to promote understanding. Because we're on Zoom, we won't, of course, be visiting those other houses of worship, but in past years and in the future, when COVID isn't an issue, we'll be going back into visiting those houses of worship, and we worship along with the congregation members of those different faith groups. This year, we'll be focusing on Christianity and the varieties of Christianity. So we start out with our sort of sister faith, which is congregationalism, and then sort of work out to sort of less familiar faith groups, talk about Catholicism, Protestantism, and we have ended the year with talking about and exploring Judaism. So Wednesday night programs are for our high school aged youth. This year is different in that in the past, we also on Wednesday nights offer a class for 8th graders called Our Whole Lives. The acronym for that is OWL, and that's a comprehensive sexuality course. This year we are not teaching OWL because it's not designed for web use, and we really want to be sure that we're following best practice. And the writers of that curriculum have asked us to not teach from that curriculum until we can be in the classroom with the kids. So our Wednesday night program this year is exciting. It will be for kids in 9th and 10th grade only, in that these are kids who have completed the requirements, the OWLS program, or they're in 9th grade, or they've completed the UU identity class, which is a 10th grade class, and or excuse me, a 9th grade class. And so those are the kids that we're rolling it out for this year. Our plan is to create an integrated plan, so kids from 9th through 12th grade will eventually be able to come on Wednesday nights and continue their spiritual and faith exploration. In past years, we've just had them in 8th grade and 9th grade, had that available for just 8th grade and 9th graders. Wednesday, so it's Wednesday night that we're going to be meeting starting in September, 1st and 3rd Wednesday of each month. And the program that we're piloting, rather than just focusing on what we have for the 8th and 9th grade, or excuse me, the 9th and 10th graders, in the past, the 9th graders in the past have done UU identity, 10th graders have done coming of age or sort of self-discovery. We're adding 2 more components to the teen experience. We're calling this BAT, Being a Teen. So the BAT program will also add the components of life skills, sort of like money or financial literacy, cooking, car, basic maintenance, those types of life skills, and also sexuality, drawing again from the OWL curriculum, but not being directly from the OWL curriculum. Basically talking about issues that, that these young people are facing today as they begin to date. So I think that is an overview of sort of Sunday programs and Wednesday programs. Marie, did I get everything in there?
Yeah, I think that's a really good overview. Can you talk a little bit about the philosophy of the religious education program?
Sure. So at the fellowship, we come from the approach that parents are the primary religious educators of their children. So we're here to support, reinforce those values and ethics that are already being taught at home. So we also know that faith development and spiritual development is a lifelong process. So whether you're coming into the fellowship as a new adult, or if you're being raised as a Unitarian Universalist, we really understand that there is, this is a lifelong journey, and that there's always opportunity and room to grow. So lifespan religious education and faith development is really a part of that philosophy. In terms of what we teach in the classroom, we're really sensitive to using age-appropriate and developmentally appropriate materials. So our very young friends, we often use sort of wisdom stories and stories to build our lesson around. Often we'll use picture books as a launching point for our lesson, and then sort of as children sort of exploration questions, so they can explore a little bit more deeply some of the concepts that we cover in the book. We do use stories from, you know, all of our different sources. So often there'll be stories from Buddhism or Hindu stories, stories from Islam, Christianity, Judaism. We also talk about influential people like Martin Luther King and Ruby Bridges. We really draw from all of our sources at a developmentally appropriate level to present material to our children. Of course, we always have our mind on being inclusive and intentional. We've got a wide variety of students with different needs, with different identities. And so we're always coming back to making sure that we're inclusive of everyone. Welcoming is one of our, is one of our, oh, okay. Marie, it's our
Part of our mission statement.
Thank you. So we're really, when we've got new kids coming in, we really try to help the kids live out what does welcoming look like, literally. We've got new friends. How can we make sure that we welcome them? And also before classes or at the beginning of our classes, we do some sort of a daily rituals. So kids will come in, we light a chalice in the classroom, we share joys and concerns in the classroom. Well, depending on what's going on, we might do a short meditation or a short prayer, but we definitely include spiritual practices as part of our regular classroom routine. And finally, we are sensitive to what is known as the explicit, the implicit, and the null curriculum. And those are the explicit curriculum is what literally are we teaching? What is taught through our words? What is taught through the stories that we're sharing? What about the activities? Our implicit curriculum is what is taught through our actions and our relationships. Do our actions and our relationships reflect what our values are? What are we teaching when we are welcoming to other people? The null curriculum is what is omitted and what we don't talk about, what messages those are sending too. So an example of that would be, our Black Lives Matter, which is an important component of our work at the Fox Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. If we don't talk about racism and we don't talk about Black Lives Matter, what is that teaching the kids? We want to be sure that we're covering the areas. So some of those topics that would seem taboo are not taboo. So that's sort of what's behind our philosophy.
Thank you. That's really helpful. I know as a parent myself, I really honor all that you try to do in a very short amount of time. You have my child, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours a week because he's going to be in high school. And that's a lot. And so there's a lot of hours that he's with me. So what do you say to parents who are trying to supplement and or also assist our children on their spiritual paths?
Well, good question, Marie. So COVID is brought a unique set of issues and challenges to just our work here. And so people in religious education, my role, Eve, our assistant, our role is adapting to the COVID situation. And one of the things that we'll be doing this fall is really trying to make sure that parents, as primary religious educators, have the resources that they need in order to sort of bring our faith practice into the home. So we've got information that we'll be sending to parents on a weekly basis, weekly to monthly, depending on what the materials are, sort of just augmenting what we're doing in the classroom, but sort of helping you as parents bring that back into the home. Yes, because we, not being directly in front of the kids does make a difference, and so we want really parents to feel as empowered as possible to bring those same things into the home. Yeah, I feel like there was something else I wanted to mention. Basically, supporting parents. How do you get those materials? You need to register your children. Our registration is on Zoom, and so if you go to our website, we've got a registration link. Excuse me, it's not on Zoom, it's a WUFU document. But when parents register their children, then that's our, we use that to send out materials. So if you're not getting materials and you want them, please register your children. If you're not sure that you want to register them, let's say you're a visitor and you're thinking about it, we ask that you visit, 3 times, and then we really do want information about your child. That helps us to understand any kind of ways that we can help them as individuals, and it just helps us track all kinds of information that's really helpful for us in streamlining our work, and also supporting you as a parent.
Well, as a parent who has had my child at the fellowship since he was born, so he has been through every stage up to, he just finished 8th grade. I am so grateful to all you and our wonderful teachers have done for this program, because he has learned to be comfortable with not knowing, with the mystery and the wonder and the awe of the world. He knows that there are many people, many adults who he can turn to with concerns, with questions. It's been life-changing, and I know a lot of people wish that they personally found the fellowship sooner to be able to send their kids through. So, but I am grateful that we were in that position. So thank you.
Thank you, Marie. And that's the joyful part of the work that we do. It's maybe part of our hidden curriculum that we just embrace every one of our young people that come to be with us, and we encourage them to continue to discover who they are and develop the right path for themselves, and encourage support that all the way through. And I have to thank our volunteers who do a fantastic job in making that happen.
Absolutely. We have wonderful, wonderful volunteers. Well, thank you for being with me. We are so glad that you are learning more. You can learn more about our religious education program on our website or by emailing Kim. We hope to see you soon. I will now extinguish the chalice with these words by Reverend Martha Munson. We extinguish the chalice here that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light your path as you leave this place. May it guide your way until we are together again.
Thank you, Marie.